Hello students, welcome to the feature writing class, MassComm 304. This is Letitia Steffen. I am an associate professor in the Department of Mass Communications and Center for New Media, and I just have a very brief overview of feature writing here that I want to provide for week 1. So what are some things that you can learn about feature writing in this class? A few things. One is attention to details. Why is this so important? When you're out covering stories, and especially when you're out covering feature stories, it's very important for you to pay attention to the details. If you're doing a profile, what are some things that surround the person who you are talking to? How can those things help to define the character of this person? If you're covering an event, what are some things happening in the environment around you? What are some details that you need to pay attention to? Really keeping your eyes open to anything that might be important as you're covering a story. Second point, understanding your environment, which is very much related to understanding details. Just again, being very aware of what's happening around you and how that relates to the story that you're covering. And then thirdly, understanding the experience of others. And this is a key element of feature writing because we'll talk a lot in this class about how important human interest is in creating a feature story. And in order for us to really tap into human interest, we really need to understand the experience of others. How are their experiences impacting the way they're living their lives? How are they affected by issues that are happening? How are their families affected? How are their businesses affected? All things that have an impact on them. So those are 3 very important things that you will learn through the course of feature writing. As I mentioned earlier, human interest is key to feature writing. So think a little bit about how you define human interest. Hopefully you've all had the Introduction to Journalism class, so you know that human interest is identified as one of the news values. There are different ways we as writers can achieve human interest in our stories, so I want you to think a little bit as to how we can achieve human interest in our stories. How can you really get the readers to relate to the subjects that you include in your stories? How can you make them feel? How can you make them really understand what's going on? So human interest is going to be an element that you're really going to want to analyze and think about in terms of how you define that. Human interest is also a news value that helps to set feature stories apart a little bit from very straight news stories. We really dive into the human interest facet of a story when we are writing a feature story. So that will be very important for you when you're working on your stories. And that is it. So welcome to the class, and I look forward to meeting you all.